Well, I just like the intro to Bob so much, I'm going to read it again to you, OK. Last time, our G of the Ds beat our contestants with the 8-letter word faultier. And from all their efforts so far, faultier towers above them. So proving he's a man well on form.
Very
Manuel.
good.
So it's Bob Champion with the irrepressible Susie Dent.
Oh, Sybil.
Sybil, irrepressible.
You didn't say that.
Anyway,
You didn't say
from me
that.
and my team of scriptwriters, I wish you all a very good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Now, 3 tiny abandoned puppies are in need of lots of TLC. Pet Rescue is coming up next, here on 4 Daytime.
It's the whole element of the game. It's fantastic just to kick a ball around in a park, doing keep-ups, being involved as a team. I just love it.
Count down cholesterol with Flora Pro-Activ.
Can a classical cellist from the country fool the street-savvy city slickers? Will the DJ spot the cover or think that she's an original? Faking It, tonight at 10 on 4.
Once bitten, twice shy.
New shoes? If you love your home, you won't want to leave it if stairs become a problem. Why not call Stannah now? We pride ourselves on providing a range of safe and reliable stairlifts, and you can be sure of getting a friendly service at all times. No wonder Stannah is the world's most popular stairlift, giving over 150,000 people so far the freedom to go on living in their own homes. Call 0800 715 400 now for a free brochure. That's 0800 715 400.
I had a massive row with Dave last night, and he said that when I talk, my nostrils flare. Do I flare my nostrils when I talk? Anyway, he's not so perfect himself. He's got quite a few faults, actually. He's got hair coming out of his ears, he's got hair coming out of his nose, a big beer belly.
When you can make as many local evening and weekend calls as you like for just £5 extra a month, you'd better start limbering up.
And hair on his back. That's not good. Maybe he could wax it. Yeah, Dave, I know my nostrils flare, but I've been told it can be quite sexy, all right?
BT Talk Together. Call 0800 05 5555.
What do you mean my gums are too big?
Drivers under 50 are 36% more likely to make a claim than those over 50. So if you believe that the sins of the children should not be loaded onto your car insurance, call Saga on 0800 50 33 33 and ask for a quote. Saga's low-cost motor insurance is strictly for people over 50. So call Saga now on 0800 50 33 33 and you'll be amazed how far your motor insurance could fall. Saga, now's the time.
Go on, laugh. Of course you can. Designed for small bladder problems, new Tena Lady Ultra Mini is as discreet as a panty liner and drier than a thin sanitary towel. Tena Lady Ultra Mini. Laugh, move, live.
Those cheeky chappies Adam and Joe have been prized out of their bedroom to get Jamie and Zoe rolling in the aisles. Also, there's model Jordan and a live performance from Low Gold. That's the Priory tonight, only on Channel 4 at 6 o'clock. A Place in the Sun is house hunting on Gran Canaria in 25 minutes here on 4 Daytime, and that's right after Pet Rescue.
On Pet Rescue today, a swan causes chaos on the M5.
We found the one bird, which was still in the carriageway, causing a few problems with the traffic.
And Rocky meets his fan club at a local school.
Here
at the Bawtry RSPCA Centre, they do occasionally get animals brought in who are really fighting for their lives. Well, just in here, there are 3 extremely young, vulnerable youngsters whose lives really are hanging in the balance. Hello, Moira.
Hello.
Who have you got there?
This is Brio.
How young are they? They're tiny.
We think she's about a week old today. But,
Where did they come from?
They were abandoned in a plastic bag in the snow last Thursday. A man walking his dog noticed the dog rummaging around underneath a bush and found this white carrier bag in the snow, and when he looked inside there was 3 puppies.
That's awful. I can't imagine how anyone could ever do that.
No.
Look at those.
We think that they were probably born that same day.
So they didn't get that initial feed from their mum then?
We can't be sure about that, but it's even if they had 1 or 2 feeds, they really need the first 24 hours, 36 hours.
Why is that so important?
Because all the antibodies that the mum's built up against infection, whether it's her own experience of infection or by injections, they get passed on to the puppies in the colostrum in the first few feeds that they have. So that protects them against infection.
What are your hopes for them then? How do you think they're going to do? Because it's still very early days, isn't it?
It is. It's so far so good. They're growing well. They seem to be sturdy, but it is very, very early days, and they can go down so fast that, you know, I just don't look beyond today. And they do seem to have separate personalities.
Already?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, this one's a dizzy Lizzie. She whizzes round everywhere. The biggest one, the brown one, is quite placid, and the other black one's sort of somewhat in the middle.
Well, I hope there's a happy end of this story, because
I do.
It infuriates me.
You just can't throw babies away and get rid of them.
You're right.
You know, it's just no excuse for it. It's barbaric.
Well.
And if it wasn't for that dog, but they've been given a second chance.
And I'm going to keep my fingers crossed, definitely.
Yep. It's second best, but it's, you know, we'll do the best for them.
A couple of airborne road casualties have been admitted to the Wildlife Hospital at West Hatch. Accidents involving wild birds are all too common. Last year in Somerset, the RSPCA dealt with 150 similar cases. This one was found by PC Neil Johnson, making its way towards Bristol on the M5.
We were travelling up the motorway towards Bristol. We got a call to come down for some swans. We found the one bird, which was still in the carriageway, causing a few problems with the traffic. It's the first one I've caught, and it was suggested to throw a coat over it just to tug its wings away and take control of its head, but it was very cooperative, didn't have a problem at all.
Inspector Guy Harrison is no stranger to situations like these.
It's the sort of thing that swans will do if it's a wet road or a shiny road. They sometimes mistake it for water and will crash land onto an asphalt surface.
Guy thinks the swan may have been even more distressed by its unusual journey to hospital.
It's obviously stressed and upset by its apprehension by our men in blue and by being transported in a police car, as in fact all of us would have been. Some policemen just brought him in and had him to the top of the road.
The swan is weighed and moved to the intensive care unit. Guy's duty done, he hands over to staff at the hospital. Meanwhile, the other road accident victim is recovering in the aviary. This barn owl was brought in last night after crashing into a van windscreen.
It could have been dazzled by a car's headlights. Barn owls often hunt on the side of road verges because they're left to grow wild, so there's lots of prey, lots of voles and mice for them. Good hunting habitat, but obviously it leaves them at risk from being hit by cars. It's eaten overnight. There doesn't appear to be any obvious injuries, so we've now put it straight outside in the aviary. We want to get it away from people as quickly as possible. It's now going to be assessed over the next couple of days. If it's flying okay, behaving normally and eating well, then there's no reason to keep it any longer and we'll take it for release.
Paul assesses the owl's condition by looking at its feathers.
They're very reliant on having good feather condition, be able to fly properly, and the feathers also have these little bits on the edges here, which makes their flight very quiet. So it's how they manage to sneak up on prey. He's got a ring on already. We're going to contact the British Trust for Ornithology and we'll give them the ring number, and they will then send us back all the details of when it was rung, how old the bird was, where it was first rung. So we'll actually get a picture of this bird's background.
The 3 Shetland ponies we met yesterday have been at Priory Animal Centre for 6 weeks now. They were signed over to the RSPCA after escaping onto the A1 from a nearby field. The ponies have had some intensive training, and Deputy Manager Eileen Allison is pleased the hard work has paid off.
The smallest, which is this one, it's going out to them. I found him a home, which is brilliant. They're all sweet, but I think he's the cutest of the bunch. He's more placid as well. As long as it's with other animals, it should be okay.
The ponies are sharing their paddock with another runaway called Robbie, and there's no question who's boss. Shetlands always take the upper hand.
Goat was one that was a return. It was adopted out, but he kept escaping basically and causing a bit of problems. So we've had to have him back, but I'm sure he won't be on because he's a lovely natured goat.
Eileen Allison's arranged for the smallest pony to go to a local primary school. He's being picked up by Terry Catton. Originally, Terry had come to Priory looking for something entirely different.
3 weeks ago, we came down with view to getting half a dozen Muscovy ducks because we have a small pond up at school, and we wanted some ducks on the water for the kids to see. Unfortunately, the ducks they have, they were long term and they're keeping them here. So we then saw the 3 ponies, and we popped up to have a look at them, and here we are. We've got one for the children.
But the pony's not keen to be separated from his friends and puts up a bit of a struggle with care manager Alison Pring.
They haven't been handled in a little while, so it makes it a little bit more difficult. Just a little bit high-spirited, that's all. But they'll settle down. They don't like being split, so there's going to be a bit of anxiety there, especially when we start walking him down away from the others. It's going to be a little bit anxious.
Whoa, it's all right. Good lad. It's all strange, isn't it?
Before leaving, Alison and Eileen make sure he looks his best.
His dandruff's not too bad. Come spring, you'll be able to have a really nice bath, and a lot of the warts have actually fallen off now as well. Quite clean.
Good boy. Good boy. You didn't like this last time, did you?
He's getting much better with his feet. He's certainly fit for rehoming now. Oh, it's okay. Good lad.
Back in Somerset, the swan found on the motorway is still in intensive care. Staff are trying to get it to walk, but it's suffering from shock. Veterinary nurse Orla Maguire is going to carry out some tests on the swan to check the levels of lead in its bloodstream.
The lead that mainly fishermen used to use in the past, I know that's not allowed to be used anymore, but there's a lot in the waterways that the swans use. And the way that swans actually feed, they sift through the bottom where the lead pellets are usually discarded, so they ingest it and they lose strength in their neck, in their bodies. They'll actually stop feeding, and the food that they have already fed may not be able to pass through the bodies because it'll actually stop the digestive system from working properly, and it can actually be fatal.
It'll take a few days for the blood test to come through, so in the meantime the swan is transferred outside into one of the paddocks with some other swans.
It's quite stressful for them in the hospital, and he's eating well, he's doing everything a normal swan should do. So he's come down here for feeding up, and we're just waiting on the blood test results to check that he's not suffering from any problems with lead poisoning.
Months line rental free in your first 15 months. 50 text messages and 600 off-peak minutes free each month. All free from Dial-a-Phone on 0800 62 63 64. All from your free Nokia 3310. Yes, the lighter, smaller 3310 absolutely free, with free connection to Vodafone. Monthly line rental is £11.99. Itemised billing only £2. Free phone, free calls, free messages. All by making a free phone call to 0800 62 63 64. Be sure to have your bank and credit card details ready. That's 0800 62 63 64.
He should have got it by now, but he'll probably just throw it in the bin. I wouldn't blame him if he did. I could have phoned, but he'd either just scream at me or slam the phone down. I knew at the time it was a stupid thing to do, but it's made me realise how much I love him. At least in a letter, I can take time to explain to him how I feel and why what happened, happened. I hope he'll spend time thinking about it. After all, you can't reread a phone call.
Simon, not another reminder. And we got 3 more phone calls last night. We've got to sort this out.
Sound familiar? If so, call Baines and Ernst now. Mr. Stevenson called. He was struggling to repay £980 per month. This was restructured to one single monthly payment of £149. Baines and Ernst have over £800 million of debt under management and are waiting to help solve your debt problems right now. So call 0500 0500 74. Call now.